Intrepid viewers, hi. It's a day for celebration, is it not? So, first of all, the absolutely screaming obvious. So, we didn't get to see the mugshot per se, but we all know what went on. The upside, I think, was also that the protests don't mess with New York, is the moral of this story, right? New Yorkers only voted, 11% of New Yorkers voted him in 2016 because they know him. So do not mess with New York. So I love that. Marjorie Taylor Greene was just shouted down and disappeared. But I was moved by one comment from a Manhattan attorney, and she said it gave her enormous satisfaction to see the Donald sitting on the same chairs as her homeless clients sit on. And I bet they're uncomfortable chairs. So, there is lots and lots to be pleased about today, even though the case itself is not immense. We know that. But symbolically, the beginning. And I also think the Judge Mushin was smart not to gag the Yeti straight up and simply say you can talk about your case, but you cannot talk about other people in the judiciary. Because you heard Breitbart had a go at the judge's daughter. I mean, how arrogant are these guys? Look, in case you missed it, Sean Hannity's interview with the Yeti recently, you don't have to go to Fox News to see it, it's all over the other media. And Sean Hannity, hypocrite extraordinaire that he is, despite the fact he doesn't even like the guy anymore, was trying to help the Yeti with the more serious documents case. And obviously, Hannity's handlers and others had thought, here's a way we can make an argument. So Hannity was really giving to the Yeti on a plate, saying, knowing, he's not a fine print guy. So he was trying to milk that angle. So he said to the Yeti, I know you, and if someone came in and said, let's go through this box of documents, you wouldn't be interested, would you? Well, of course, the Donald, who we know has the brain of a goldfish, blurts forth, yeah, because they're mine. I own them. I've got the right to them. They're all mine. They're all mine. Vanity. It's gold. It's gold. He just dug himself into a trench that is, I think, 5 meters deep in metric. You can work it out in yards. Unspeakably stupid. And that sort of got me thinking. And I thought there'd be part of him we know in his back brain who really couldn't believe that he's sitting there in a court because of paying off a porn star. You can just hear him saying, well, that can't be a crime, can it? I've committed bigger crimes. I've committed the biggest crimes that have been seen since the world was born, Big crimes, that's me. I mean, I think he's an inch away from that. I seriously do. He is that disconnected. Bliss. Anyway, as you can see, I'm raving with delirium and relief, but we've got further to go. It's not going to be a long one. And I'll talk about the debt ceiling and all the sort of necessary stuff in the next video, because today's celebratory. Now, Wisconsin. So during the week, Wisconsin, actually the most narrow-minded of Wisconsin's lawmakers, basically they've banned rainbows. They've banned Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus's song. If a kid draws a rainbow, they get hysterical and go into a molten meltdown, and this absolute delirium over rainbows. On the other hand, They've just elected a Liberal justice to their Supreme Court today. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And it tips their Supreme Court 4-3 in favour of the Liberals, which means they can put the brakes on some of the cruder, absolutely more abusive, dreadful laws that come before it. So yay, Wisconsin. It's a relief. I did a reading, I think, the other day and said she would win, but it's always a relief. Okay, so let's have a look. We'll just dip in. I'm just going to have a quick look at DeSantis because I'd like to see what he's thinking after this. Not that I want to get inside his particular sewerage brain, but let's have a quick look at DeSantis. Quick look at DeSantis. Things aren't going well for him. Disney's got him over a barrel. Just, Florida students are walking out. Oh, I'll have to get to Tennessee students in a minute. Quick look at DeSantis. I think this is really interesting. He's not happy, generally speaking, but he's going to have to reach a compromise. He's gone so far out on a limb, trying to juggle, and this whole woke thing, talk about where woke goes to die. There's an inversion in this, in the sense that it's where hostility to woke goes to die. And he's actually the masthead and the spearhead of it. So if he ends up being the chosen nominee, it's sort of good, if you know what I mean, that he's shown what a fascist he is. He's shown what a truly repulsive human being he is, so people can be crystal clear. If he'd just been a very effective right-wing governor, he'd have more chance. But I think women are waking up. How many of us as readers have harped on about this for the last 3 or 4 years? Women and young people hold the key. And we deliberately put a male in the One World Tarot deck because it's about women and men who support women, i.e. decent men, not a problem. So I think with the combination of abortion and anti-education is getting to the middle voters here. In another development, which I shall put up if I remember to put up, I'm going to put up 2 links for you. One is a veterans organisation has put out an ad saying, we want Fox not to be sprayed into all armed services sort of dormitories, the chow hall, wherever you go, you know, you see Fox, 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 and it's causing dissent in the military and so forth. So they put out a very effective ad. Bless, I'll put that link up. The other link I'm going to put up is Hogarth did an interview during the week. It's only 8 minutes long with someone about the eclipses and the US's Pluto return. So I think he puts it all very well in a nutshell there. So I'll put up both those links. In the meantime, Tennessee. Now, a Tennessee judge put the brakes on a stupid law that they tried to get through last week, that you couldn't wear crop tops and short skirts in public. Talk about Handmaid's Tale. Are they directing this at trans? What is going on? And the judge pointed out, what about every cheerleader in the States who's in a crop top and a miniskirt? You're filling up my court with obscene, unthought out rubbish. Will you please just go away? Right? Then Tennessee high school students walked out in huge numbers in the last 2 days over gun violence, and the adults in their world not only not doing anything about it, but promoting it. So let's have a look. I want to see what the youth vote say, because Wisconsin, when they had that election just today, huge numbers of first-time voters, and because American democracy, I don't know, for some reason it's never ready for the numbers who are prepared to vote. It's so used to having the gerrymanders and everything that stop people voting. They're never prepared when big numbers turn up to vote. But they had to go and find new forms, and young people voted in unprecedented numbers. So let me do a spread here. The youth vote. The youth vote. Youth vote. Youth vote. Oh, wow. Cups, cups, cups. Swords. And the chariot. Yep. Okay. Now, I'm quite excited by these cards, I have to say. All right. They have to choose. Now, most young people aren't going to be interested in day-to-day policy issues and stuff, but this whole anti-woke war has engaged them emotionally. So these two cards, I think, this is the King of Wands in not a very good way, the bossy King of Wands, meaning older, right-wing, sort of the entrenched old guard, versus Biden here, right? So we've got the two kings, meaning the 2 points of view. But look at their cards here. Page of Cups and Knight of Cups. Now, well, Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice introduced the concept of the false knight, which I love for this, but not always. So I'm going back to the conventional. These are Cups cards, and like Biden, who actually gets people's emotions, he's not faultless, but he does have an emotional interior world, and he does get people's emotions. These are my arts cards, arts, music. This is the stuff that matters, that makes us different from just, not even different from animals, so to speak, but just different from the work, getting home, exhausted life. Every society needs to promote the arts. The arts is how we reflect on a society, how we reflect on identity. And all these mediums of art are really important. And I think this is the more artistic side of Instagram, TikTok, whatever. There's a thing, but there's surprise news here. This is a message to me about the arts and emotional issues being put into action with the Knight. And so they're emotionally engaged now. Most young people aren't going to go to the wall over LGBTQI issues. They're just not. They're either part of it themselves, or they're related to someone who is, or they go to school. And so if they're not one of the small percentage of out and out bullies, this doesn't work for them. This whole idea that they haven't got a guaranteed future in terms of work or housing or anything. This spawns artistic reaction, right? Biden's sitting over here, but this is young people. This is about young people. You've hurt them enough. You know what? It's almost like you can't bring any more stupid laws in. You're exhausting the option. of 10-year-old girls having to continue pregnancies, of young people who are halfway through transition therapy and not allowed to continue. All these sorts. We're taking the books out of your library so you will guarantee your future ignorance. In the last few years, they've seen nothing and felt nothing. This is about feeling, but these swords going, we don't like it. This is about us. That's just not right. It's just not right. Chariot, they're going to do something about it. Moving forward after adversity. They're not just going to sit on their hands or their thumbs, right? I like that. I like that a lot. And watch out, Magadam and GOP, because really, most youth, even if you come from a very conservative family in a very conservative state, unless you're actually Amish or something, you have access to the net and you know about youth culture, global youth culture. Remember back in Russia, it's probably 6 or 8 years ago, the female punk band, Pussy Riot, they went to jail for their art. That's real courage, real courage. So I am very heartened by that. I hope you guys are. So champagne, popcorn, whatever is your vice, go for it. I'll just remind you, there's no such thing as Diet Coke. Coke Zero is just chemicals in a bottle to make it sweet enough to drink. If you're going to have a Coke, have a real Coke. It's just bad for you as opposed to absolutely toxic. Parting words from Auntie Lena. So love you guys. Look up these links. Ciao for now. Bye.